National Innovation Strategy. The nation station Oman FM with the cooperation of the Research Council presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.
Welcome to Innovation Roadmap, brought to you by the Research Council with Radio Sultanate of Oman. Today is the last edition for this season, the second season. And of course, to give us the grand finale, joining us in our studios is Excellency Dr. Hilal Ali Al-Hinai, Secretary General of the Research Council, TRC. Welcome to the program, Dr. Hilal.
Thank you very much, Lakshmi. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And especially remembering the good season one and what we have seen happening in season two, lots of development.
It's a very happening environment I can see when it comes to innovation in the Sultanate of Oman. If I ask you, Dr. Hilal, what have we achieved since last season, according to you?
Oh, lots of things have developed. And first of all, thank you for this informative program. That is actually highlighting to the rest of the nation the development that are taking place within the innovation field. And this has been reflected in many aspects. In the Global Innovation Index, Oman have moved 8 steps. Significant development in 1 year. And that is due to sort of what people like you are doing. Making us aware about the different activities of innovation that are happening in Oman, the different programs, the different initiatives. And for Oman to move from the position 77 in the world in 2017 to the position 69 in the world in 2018 is a big, significant step.
Being in 69.
And that is sort of the result of people working together, having a strategy, working together towards achieving that strategy. And the rest of the world is noticing that, noticing what is happening in Oman, and noticing the flourishment of activities of innovation and the participation of the different institutes in the development of innovation. Innovation now is the buzzword. You hardly, almost every minute, every 10 minutes, you hear the word innovation. And that is also taking place at different levels, at schools, at universities, at commerce, within homes, within the community as a whole. And alhamdulillah, things are moving.
I remember the first season you told us that there is no other way but actually, to put it in my own words, to look and think differently out of the box.
And that will always be the case.
That will be the case. Yes.
That will always be the case. You need to innovate. And innovation is trying to think out of the box, to find better ways of doing things and improving the way that we do things, the way we live, the way we enjoy life as well, and the way we are productive in this life.
Because challenges will continue to come up. The challenges we faced in the 70s are totally different from what we're facing today and what we will face. And you think only innovation can actually provide the answers.
Well, innovation actually what leads us
to the answer.
Through these rapid developments. So life is a series of steps, of innovative steps. And all what the development that is taking place is based on transferring knowledge into products and services, and this is innovation.
Do you think culturally the world has changed too when it comes to innovation? In the past, we would think innovation is scientists' field. Scientists have to think about what are the solutions for tomorrow. But now, in this century, it's like everybody, even including teachers, have to think of innovation. Bankers have to think. Journalists have to think. Everybody, for that matter.
Innovation is, as I said, it is the responsibility of everyone. We think of doing things better way. You are driving somewhere, you would always think how best to get there, whether taking a shorter route or avoiding the traffic jam or whatever. These are series of activities that we do on a daily basis that actually helps improve our way of living. And this is the same with all things we do. In our jobs, we always find ways of doing things slightly better. These are innovations. And if we are talking about technological innovation, yes, we may need scientists to do research and to transfer that research into products and or processes and so on. But that is not the only way innovation is. There is social innovation. How can we do things better? And maybe some of the best examples that could leave far more or better rewards are issues related to social innovation. If we do things slightly differently than we were doing it before, it's not technological. It's collaborative efforts. It's putting sort of things, rearranging things in different manner. These things could actually give you far better payback than what you may achieve with technological innovations. Social innovation is critical. The rest of the world is now sort of aware of this important tool.
Social innovation?
Social innovation.
How would you describe that?
It's actually how we can do things in a society in a far more efficient manner. Let me give you one example related to Oman and to agriculture in Oman. Currently, most of the agriculture in Oman is based on the Falag system. And the Falag system is based on ownership of shares within the Falag, and also ownership of the farms and lands that are irrigated by this Falag. Our inheritance system have created this significant fragmentation of this valuable resource, water and land, which led to significant inefficiencies in the productivity of these farms. One of the possible, let's say, innovative social innovation aspect is if we manage to convince the owners of these fragmented shares, be it water or land, and simply say, why don't you develop a company owned by you as owners with shares that represent the value of your water and the value of your land, but run it as a company. And the returns and revenues would be far better because it will be far more efficient in terms of cost of production and better productivity and hopefully better value to you and to society.
Because also it would provide opportunities for the others.
It will also create jobs, more sustainable jobs, better level of jobs. It will create surrounding, it will nourish the life in that village because the products and productivities would be put in the market and create market opportunities. But most important, you bring life to that village. This is not technological innovation. This is social innovation.
Now, how could we take that idea and actually apply it? Because this is innovation.
Well, we can pilot because there will be a need to negotiate.
Yes.
This process, you need to pilot it. You need to show an example. We could pilot 2 or 3 projects, Falag systems, and in a sense demonstrate the process and the value to the rest of the society. And I assure you, in no time, once they see the success and the benefits that are taking place, this project will spread to significant number of Falags, and it will enhance the productivity of the agricultural sector, it will enhance the food security in the country, and it will enhance the rural development, creating jobs in rural places for the young to be located in their own villages, looking after their parents, looking after their children, being sort of productive, not only during working hours, but serving their community while they are located in these villages.
Your Excellency, Dr. Hilal, what would you say, or how do you see the Research Council's role as a creator and supporter of research and development and innovation within national innovation ecosystem? You've just given me a brilliant concept of social innovation. We've always been talking about technology and research, but you've just proven to me in the last episode of season 2 that no, innovation is actually going into the society itself. For example, this example you've just given us about the Al-Falat system. Now, coming back to the Research Council's role, is this like an insight for us to expect bigger things from the TRC?
Let's say the role of TRC
is expanding?
Hopefully it will be expanding,
okay.
But hopefully it will be more effective than it is now. TRC's role or mandate is around development of research and innovation capacity in Oman. And when we say innovation, it's a large ecology. That research is a major component of it, yes, but you talk about education, you talk about marketing, you talk about production, you talk about media, you talk about consultancies and services and so on. There's a significant, you talk about financing. This ecology is interlinked. When it is properly interlinked with a clear vision, then you get what is called an effective national innovation system. R&D is a component of that and plays a significant role in the knowledge creation. Hopefully also it helps in the transfer of the knowledge to the potential users. That is the innovation aspect within TRC. So the TRC has a role in the knowledge creation component. But when TRC was established, we saw almost a barren landscape compared to other mature systems around the world. And we said to ourselves, for us to succeed, we must also, besides shouldering our role of research and development, we should also be a catalyst in filling the gaps within this national innovation ecology. And that is what we have been trying to do through the National Innovation Strategy, through the different activities that we see as critical for R&D to succeed. For example, venture capital is a critical component of the national ecology. It's not our responsibility, but we saw without it, we will not deliver what was needed. So we worked very hard towards creating a venture capital fund called Innovation Development Oman, now named Ibtikar. And we collaborated with the private sectors to create this fund so that the ecology would be more sort of mature and can take the product of research and development and help it transfer into the market space. This is an example of what we were shouldering. Now these funds are available, not only one, but 2, 3, several other funds, venture capital funds. We are now pulling from that domain and focusing on other gaps that we think should be filled to make this ecology effective and delivering what it needs to deliver.
Now that there are research centers, at the same time, I think in the pipeline is also the Technology Transfer Office, where there could be a national center.
We are developing what we call the National Technology Transfer Network, and that network is basically trying to link the technology or knowledge developers, mainly higher education institutes, to knowledge utilizers, and supporting these institutes into taking the right steps of transferring the ideas into products and services
that
are needed within the market. And some colleges, some universities have strong abilities, others are yet learning. And our effort is to support all of those institutes to capture better value.
We will take a short break, and our guest is His Excellency Dr. Hilal Ali Al Hinai, Secretary General of the Research Council, TRC. You're listening to Innovation Roadmap.
Oman to be among the top 40 most innovative countries in the world by 2020 and among the top 20 most innovative countries by 2040. You are listening to the National Innovation Strategy.
You are listening to Innovation Roadmap, and our guest is, of course, Secretary General of the Research Council, Dr. Hilal Al Hinai. And so could I ask you to brief us about TRC's future vision and its connection with Oman's Vision 2040? Of course, in innovation, Oman would like to be in the top 40 by 2020 and then by 2040 in top 20.
Excellent. Let's start with TRC's vision.
Okay.
Is to make Oman a regional innovation hub. The link with Oman's Vision 2040 is that innovation is a significant pillar in the transformation from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. And this is actually the role also of the National Innovation Strategy, making Oman among the top or the leaders in the innovation by the year 2040. But our challenge in the National Innovation Strategy, we said we want Oman to be among the top 40 countries by the year 2020. We are now
almost stepping into 2019.
We are ranked 69.
Yes.
We have a year or two to hopefully fulfill that dream. Is it doable? I feel so. To be among the top 40 countries is something possible, achievable. Knowing what is happening now in Oman, the significant activities that support innovation, that focus on innovation, and even the drivers for innovation. You may say the drop in oil price is a bad thing, not for innovation. That's is a good thing for innovation because it forces you to do things more efficiently in a better way and do it much faster than before. And all the activities that we are seeing now is aimed at doing things more efficient, faster, and thus improving the innovativeness of the government, of the private sector, and society as a whole. So I am very optimistic that our very challenging target of being among the top 40 countries by the year 2020 is something that Oman will achieve. And if we don't achieve it in full, but we will significantly move towards it. And I think knowing from what we have seen in the competitiveness index, we will also see similar trends in the innovation index. And again, you see it in the different activities that are taking place. Innovation is the buzzword. And this is the era of innovation and the support for innovation in Oman.
And TRC is also staying in touch and coordinating with all agencies in the country, whether it is the government or the different branches of government and different organizations, as well as educational institutions.
That is the mandate that was given to us. We thought at the beginning that we will be developing the strategy and someone else will play that role of, in a sense, activating the strategy. But cleverly they said, you started, so at least you continue with that for the first stage of development. And this is what our colleagues, it's not only TRC, by the way, it's actually a team, the team that have developed this national research strategy. We have the support of all institutions. We have representatives from all institutions. They are part of this team, and they are working together towards achieving the targets set for these early years of the strategy, raising awareness, setting the targets, identifying the programs that need to focus more on certain indicators, and trying to achieve that within the budgets that have already been allocated within the 5-year plan. So it is a national effort, and significant coordination is taking place, and all institutions that we have been working with are sort of geared, are focused on these targets of making Oman among the top 40 countries by the year 2020 through improving the activities that they are doing anyway. And these activities have been programmed within their 5-year plans and so on. And the 5-year plan is now coming to its end, so we'll be seeing the fruits of these programs. And this is where we put the first stage of the National Innovation Strategy, harvesting these early fruits that hopefully will put us among the top 40 countries in the world.
So you were expecting it to happen. And on that positive note, let me also ask you, when we look at innovation, earlier we talked how it's covering all spectrum, but while we spoke to the Undersecretary of Civil Service, he gave us an insight on how important today, and the focus is on human resources and the person himself or herself. Their performance would actually guarantee them the next promotion. So that's a whole change in mind. There's a complete thinking style which has changed. So it's not just the number of years that actually guarantees you the next step forward. Now, when we look at that, whether it's institutions or people, do you think private sector will also be pulling in very soon into this momentum?
I think, to me, the private sector is actually leading this momentum. And the significant development that are taking place within the private sector to improve efficiencies and to contribute to the transformation of Oman's economy from the resource-based to knowledge-based economy, it is supporting the government's effort. And the government is learning from the private sector. And the example that you've just given is actually something that is everyday practice in the private sector.
Sure.
So hopefully these activities that we will be doing to improve the efficiency of the government sector would again reflect back on better opportunities for the private sector, more ease in doing business, faster, in a sense, permissions, faster support, and flexible rules and regulations that support innovation. So the private sector is a sort of an important partner in this event. Now,
can you tell us a little bit more about the establishment of the Omani Intellectual Property Society?
Don't know much about it. However, I know that within the pillar of intellectual property, significant efforts are being put into filling the gaps within the intellectual property, including the need to have sort of a society that links the activities of the different actors, stakeholders in intellectual property, including the development of capacity in innovation in IP. And the society hopefully will play a significant role in that. However, the society is only one component within the intellectual property. We have signed as different stakeholders a collaboration agreement with the World Intellectual Property to develop a program of capacity in IP in Oman, including courses at schools, development in schools and universities, but also in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, the Ministry of Justice, the courts. All of those are now identifying IP as an important element that we need to develop our capacity in, and to facilitate and to protect where needed the intellectual property of inventors and innovators. So lots of things are now taking place within those pillars of the National Innovation Strategy. Among them is the innovation or the intellectual property pillar.
I guess it's a comfort feel for investors, foreign investors also, when they know intellectual property is protected in a land.
And protected in terms of rules and regulations. We tend to have almost the best rules you could get in the world.
Yes.
What investors were worried about is the implementation of those policies, rules, and regulations. And this is where capacity development will complement that. Because we have some of the best rules in intellectual property, but we now need to implement those rules. And this is where that capacity is being targeted.
We'll take a short break and be right back. You're listening to Innovation Roadmap, the final episode of second season.
National Innovation Strategy Project, sharing the vision and sharing the responsibility. You are listening to the National Innovation Strategy.
You are listening to Innovation Roadmap, and this is our episode actually closing the second season. And as always, to wrap it up for us, our guest is Secretary General of the Research Council, His Excellency Dr. Hilal Al-Hinai. Doctor, my final questions, of course, are, first of all, are you happy with what has been achieved so far then, since season 1 to now? What has been in the country?
I'm actually, to tell the truth, I'm surprised with the progress that has been achieved in this very short period of time. Somehow it is becoming the season of innovation. And significant activities are taking place in support of this. And as I've mentioned before, this significant jump in the ranking of Oman in the Global Innovation Index is a reflection of this positive atmosphere. Everyone is, I feel it in the air. Innovation is in the air. And everyone wants to do something, to participate in the development. That is at the institutional level, as well as the individual levels. We have people who are transferring knowledge, supporting the innovation ecology, trying to help others in improving their activities. If you look at the social media in Oman, it's innovation. Maybe I'm biased. I'm only looking at only.
But you're right, actually.
But it is pleasing to see this positive atmosphere And especially, as I said, now we are approaching the end of this 5-year plan. Not only the end of this 5-year plan, the end of the Vision 2020. We realize the significant infrastructure that has been developed. We see the beautiful human resources that are now flourishing in Oman. Youth of Oman, eager to take lead into this next phase of development. Oman's Vision 2040 will be built on solid infrastructure with significant and capable human resources in Oman. I always say to my colleagues, we now have a beautiful airport to take from. And I don't mean in Sib International. We have the beautiful airport of infrastructure and the human resources that will be
the fuel
for this. And taking off will be far easier. I remember when we were developing the national research strategy, our thinking was we want vertical takeoff. We want to take off immediately. I give the example of the Harrier jet that takes off vertically from a ship. And we wanted to do that. We wanted to catch the rest
to make an
the
impact as fast as possible.
Yes, but now we realize that we have developed a beautiful runway, beautiful airport.
Yes.
And we don't need that vertical off. We will be taking off in different types of aircrafts that would be taken. So the future, the 2040 vision, is very rosy. And I'm enthusiastic, and I'm looking forward to the very short-term future to see Oman among the top 40 countries in the world.
Excellent.
By the year 2020.
And what would be, you think, the future plans in regard to the progress with the national innovation strategy?
We've started, obviously, raising awareness, but we have also started putting targets using the indicators within the Global Innovation Index and linking these to actual programs run by ministries. We have now enrolled or obtained the support of different institutes to help us look at these indicators in detail and linking them to their programs and using those indicators as their own indicators to measure the development of their success. This is also done not only at the institutional and program level, but also done at the national level with the Supreme Council of Planning and also with the Ministry of Finance and with the Tanfeed program. We are now aligning our vision, our activities. We are collaboratively working towards achieving these objectives, and we will soon see the benefit of that. Next steps is to actually focus on resolving any hindrances that face the different programs. That is already taking place through Tanfeed, but Tanfeed is probably focusing on a certain number of these activities. However, the activities of the National Competitiveness Committee is supportive of this. The activities of the different ministries in trying to achieve their indicators within their domains will soon contribute to the accelerating development of innovation in Oman. So we're also witnessing how institutes, ministries, and different entities creating innovation offices in their institutes to coordinate their own activities. We saw it in several ministries: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Labor. Almost now every entity is creating an innovation office to improve its own efficiencies, but also to link its activities to the National Innovation Program and to the National Development Program. So, as I said before, there are significant steps to be done, And there are still challenges that we are facing, but now we are facing them together.
What challenges would you say are major ones?
If we go back to the original challenges, which is fragmentation, there's still some sort of fragmentation.
Okay.
That silo mentality is the
Operating isolated.
Yes, but we now know that is something to be tackled, and we are putting efforts in resolving or removing those boundaries, and we are collaboratively working together. And this is the beauty of the National Innovation Strategy. It's making everyone work together to achieve the national objective through the activities of the different institutes. That is a challenge. And every entity has its own challenges. If we look at the research and development, we have
fund as a challenge.
And we know now we are actually ranked 84
in research.
In research. Yet the overall is 69. So we are, as a research, hindering the progress of the country by not investing significantly. This is we are tackling. We're tackling with achieving those through partnership with the private sector, through being more convincing, let's say, to the Ministry of Finance in terms of the value of investing in R&D. And we are hoping that soon we will be witnessing much better progress in this domain.
On that positive note, and the future looks fruitful and rosy, like you said, yes. 2020 is just around the corner, and let's be in the top 40.
We will hopefully be much closer to it.
Okay.
However, I'm looking beyond 2020 and looking to Vision Oman 2040 and the different activities that we are witnessing. And it's pleasing. You see innovation everywhere. And the knowledge economy is gathering momentum.
Excellent. On that note, let's say thank you very much to you, Your Excellency, Dr. Hilal Al-Hinai, Secretary General of the Research Council. It is indeed our honor and pleasure to have you here in our studios.
Thank you very much for the excellent effort that you are doing in support of the National Innovation Strategy.
Thank you so much. And with Ahmed Al-Remi, I'm Lakshmi Karthanath. Truly honored and sad to close in on the second season, but surely we'll be looking forward to having more of these interesting sessions on innovation, and we all get enlightened together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
National Innovation Strategy. The Nation Station Oman FM, with the cooperation of the Research Council, presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.